Hello, welcome back to another pen talk. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about a different pen, but when we look at it I think you'll understand why I was interested in it. I saw a Massdrop offering. I reacted pretty quickly without paying a lot of attention to it because of certain attributes. So let's take a look at the pen. Nice minimalistic packaging. Slides out and we see the pen. Very well packaged. Kind of reminds me of some of our Chinese pens that are packaged this way. There was a cartridge here, but I'm not going to use it. It came with a converter. You have to use some force to get the pen out, but we see the pen. Or it could just be a lump of metal. It has one identifying characteristic, and that's the name of the maker. There's only been a few reviews of this ensso Piuma, P-I-U-M-A. My ability of using languages other than English and my ability of using English is minimalistic, so I'll do my best, but we'll give you that in writing. Pen has some decent weight to it. It has a great feel. So I think one of the first things that you would do is compare it to your Nova, which is in stonewashed titanium. So let's flip it over so the caps are facing each other. We don't want any 69ing going on here. I have to admit that I enjoy the polished titanium a little bit better than the stonewashed titanium as far as the actual feel in the hand. That's a very subjective judgment, I think. But when you think about polished acrylics and polished ebonites and surfaces of pen that you're most used to touching, this feels more similar, and this does not. Minimalistic pens, as people refer to these as, there's only so much you can do with them. The cap and barrel, you have this smooth transition, you have just an interesting little demarcation there between it. The dimensions are a little bit different. But one of the things that's interesting is you uncap, and that's about a turn. And that's a little bit less than a turn. So both of these have those block threads, which are common on these types of pens. Coarse threads is another terminology you could have for it. And the other thing you'll notice, I got both of these with a titanium nib. So why did I do the Massdrop? Well, this pen cost me $100 delivered. The pen on the website is $139, and the titanium nib's another $40. So that's a great bargain from my perspective. And I don't have polished titanium, I only have stonewashed titanium, so obviously I had to get polished titanium. And I have to be honest with you, my viewers, I actually thought this was a model made by Namisu. I really did. But thankfully it's not. So I get to see a pen made by a different manufacturer, made by an artist, made in Los Angeles, California. And I think that we need to talk a little bit about making pens right now. So you have Kara's Customs that I'll be seeing in the DC Pen Show, and heavy metal machine heads are going to hang out. And being a metallurgist, I just enjoy metal. And titanium is one of the coolest metals. So the sections are done differently. I would say that they both have a kind of traditionalist feel to them, but the ensso is more traditional with the flare out at the end. It's a little bit longer than the section on the Namisu. A little bit thicker here towards the threads on the Namisu. That Bock titanium nib, I personally think it's one of the top nibs that we have available to us today, and we'll go through some writing and show you that. The Namisu is a little bit girthier in that barrel, so that's it. I think it's time for a writing sample, and I felt it would be good to compare it with the Vertex because I took the fine titanium nib out of the Nova and put it into the Vertex, and this has the extra fine, at least as well as I can tell by looking at them and checking my notes and doing all those other things. As we know, Bock doesn't mark the size of the nibs like other vendors do. So let's see how these two pens write. One thing that I thought was very good with both of these pens was after not writing for over 2 weeks, I uncapped them and both of them wrote first time. In fact, the ensso was probably well over a month the last time I wrote with it, which also talks about how often I use the pen. The pen fits fine in the hand. It's not really a pen I would post. You know, the pen has good weight to it without the cap. Here's the weight. But it's comfortable. And it's a good size section there. We'll give you those dimensions of the section. So overall, from a writer's viewpoint, even though it's a heavy metal pen, in this situation it's well balanced and it's easy to write for long sessions. I think you cannot hear how smooth this pen is. I mean, it glides across the paper, as all the Bock titanium nibs do. And it's definitely soft. You may see a little bit of skipping because you need to put pressure. This is not a nib that you can just lay on the paper and have it lay down ink. So you need to put some pressure on it. But when you do, you're rewarded by a nice ink flow. It's fairly wet, and I really do enjoy this Gold Antigua ink. So to me, the nib was worth the purchase, and also to get feel of polished titanium and to put this into my collection of metal pens. So for that reason, it was a good value from my viewpoint. So now we're going to go to rating. Is my handwriting disintegrates. Going to give it an 8.6. To me, this pen has a lot of very good features to it, but overall I don't find it as satisfying as other pens. So let's take a look at another titanium nib just to put things in perspective. Here's the Vertex from Karas Customs, pull-off cap. You know, it's really nice with that ink window. You know, you can tell how much ink is in the pen very easily. And this also writes first time every time. So I think you can also tell that this is a great ink to use in a pen like nib like this and pen like this. You know, I think you can see the similarities, and I may change this to say this is a fine and this is an extra fine based on how I see the line. It's hard to tell by you looking at the tipping material under a loop. You know, they're both a little bit different formed, but again, this is a soft nib. This is not quite as smooth. This is the other reason why I think this one's a fine and not an extra fine. But if you want a narrow line, this will do it for you. And with a little bit of pressure, it opens up. And even though you got the feed is really curved and such, when you flex it, you can touch the feed to the paper. So that's it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this look at it, and hopefully maybe this is a pen that you may not have been familiar with, but now you are. I never heard about it until the Massdrop, and I think one of these is enough from my perspective. So thank you for watching. May you have many wonderful, great, exciting, stimulating, thought-provoking writing experiences. Enjoy this wonderful world of pens, nibs, and inks that we have available to us. So we've reached the end of this video. Until the next one, bye for now. I think this is a great nib.